You may call it subtle or you may call it, obvious. The most talked about market in the world and the most talked about asset in the world, which is crypto. The most talked about market in the world is the US market. The most talked about asset in the world is crypto. They both have started reversing. So there is definitely a risk-off moment in the US market. And the correction is not very steep, but the correction I think is evident, as some of these so-called BAP stocks, they've corrected between 10 to 15% from their recent high, and Bitcoin is down 20%. Global volatility has gone up. Dollar is at 107. So the global setup is shaky. The global setup is not strong and supportive. I can quickly argue back, which is that, does that really matter? Which is that we have underperformed this year in a very stark manner despite global strength. So are we likely to latch on to this decline, or are we likely to remain independent of what is happening? My sense is that when a large market and when we see a global risk-off moment, you cannot ignore it beyond a point, which is that you will fall, you may fall less, but it is unlikely that we are likely to go against the trend. India has been a weak market where we are falling more, and we were falling when everything was going up, and in this global reversal, I think we are simply likely to move in the same direction. What may happen is that if the selling intensifies at some point in time, if the dollar index corrects, if crude prices they go down, that may act as a trigger point for Indian markets or emerging markets. But I don't think we are there yet. US markets have a long way before they can stop correcting. I think there's a long way in which before the US tech stocks will stabilize, or what will happen in the crypto world. So it's not very palatable, let me put it this way. Early morning, if you're having a cup of chai and coffee and you would say, okay, what is in for me? The US market is not going to be leaving a good aftertaste on your, it's not a very palatable kind of a global setup.
Yeah, and I think the bigger worry is if US falls, do we fall further or not because of the panic in our market? I mean, we've shed 3%, we've hit an 8-month low in just 28 days of Feb.
So Aisha, this market decline in percentage terms is not large, but in terms of the quantum, what has happened in the small and mid-cap stocks, I think it's quite meaningful. And Aisha, you've corrected without an event. Normally when you see this kind of an event, it has happened when there was COVID, GFC crisis, 9/11, TMT meltdown. Those were all global events, and events have triggered large corrections. This time you've gone because of your own weight, and not that the world...
The earnings. Largely one would say the earnings slow down, and that's what the market priced in, because you gave it extremely lofty valuations till about a quarter back.
Yeah, so you've corrected because of fundamentals, or you've corrected because of valuations. You've not corrected because of a trigger.
Global event.
Exactly. True. And it's not that the global market or the global backdrop was poor in the same 5-month period. So the situation on ground, I think, is, I won't use the word scary, but it has been an eye-opener that when excesses in the market they get created, they will be washed out. In lot of stocks now, the word bull market is over.
Yeah.
There is a universal acceptance that in the small and the mid-cap stocks, the bear market has started. So the unfortunate bit for us is that you've corrected because of your own weight, you've corrected because of valuation reset and because of an earnings slowdown, and you've gone down without any event or without any global correction. Now where do we go from here? Let's understand, where do we go from here? My sense is that in a lot of large cap stocks now, we are nearing what could be called as a fundamental bottom, large cap stocks. You are not nearing what could be called as a time-wise correction, which is that this correction in large cap stocks may just linger around. Small and mid cap stocks, I think it's too early to still buy them. पहले large cap stocks को संभलने दो, फिर small cap की बात करेंगे. So you do not want to go and put your last dollar in averaging a small cap, buying a mid cap. Please avoid that. Having said that, I expect March to be much better than Feb if all goes well and if we don't see any problem in the world. We can discuss that. I think March should be better. But if something happens in US which is event driven or something like a massive correction, then all bets are off. But I'm hoping for a better March than Jan and Feb.